Welcome to Global Watch. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. A seismic tremor has shaken the European Union, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power in Brussels and beyond. The continent is witnessing a moment that could redefine its future, as one of its own members takes a dramatic step away from the established order. Hungary has become the first EU member state to officially join the BRICS alliance, a coalition of emerging powers led by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This unprecedented move signals a bold departure from the Euro-Atlantic path that has defined Hungary's post-Cold War era. Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, long known for his defiant stance against Brussels, has now turned Hungary away from the Western consensus. Instead, he is embracing the rising influence of China and Russia, forging new alliances that challenge the very foundations of European unity. This move represents the most significant challenge to EU unity since Brexit. It raises urgent questions about the future of Europe, the strength of its institutions, and the shifting balance of global power. European leaders are scrambling to respond, as the continent faces a new era of uncertainty. For a nation that once fought to escape Soviet domination, Hungary's alignment with a bloc led by Moscow and Beijing is a stunning reversal of history. The echoes of 1956 now mingle with the realities of 2024, as Hungary redefines its place in the world. This decision is the culmination of Orbán's decade-long Eastern opening policy, which has sought to diversify Hungary's economic and political partnerships beyond the traditional Euro-Atlantic sphere. Trade, investment, and diplomatic ties with China and Russia have steadily deepened, setting the stage for this historic pivot. European leaders are alarmed and divided, now facing the reality of a member state with one foot firmly planted in a rival geopolitical camp. The unity and future direction of the EU are suddenly in question, as old alliances are tested and new ones are forged. Is Hungary acting as a Trojan horse for Beijing and Moscow, undermining the EU from within? Or is it a pragmatic pioneer, adapting to a rapidly changing multipolar world where old certainties no longer apply? The answer remains unclear, but what is certain is that Europe's geopolitical map has been redrawn, and the consequences of Hungary's decision will ripple far beyond its borders. As Budapest's bold move reverberates across the continent, the aftershocks will be felt for years to come, reshaping alliances, testing loyalties, and forcing Europe to confront a new and uncertain era. Hungary's pivot to BRICS is rooted in years of tension with the EU. Since 2010, Orbán's Fidesz party has clashed with Brussels over rule of law, media freedom, and judicial independence. Hungary has repeatedly broken EU ranks, maintaining close ties with Russia, even after the Ukraine invasion, and acting as China's staunchest advocate in Europe. Orbán frames this as reclaiming national autonomy from Brussels, a message that resonates with Hungarian voters. Each dispute and veto has been a step away from the Euro-Atlantic community. Hungary has tested the limits of EU membership for years. Joining BRICS is not a sudden impulse, but the logical endpoint of a decade-long trajectory. With this move, Hungary has shattered the boundaries of EU foreign policy, forcing a reckoning for both Budapest and Brussels. BRICS began as a catchy acronym for emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, and China, coined in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs economist. At the time, these countries were seen as the rising stars of the global economy, poised to reshape the world's financial landscape. The idea was simple. These nations, with their vast populations and rapid growth, would soon become major players on the world stage, challenging the dominance of established Western economies. Over the years, BRICS evolved from just an investment concept to a formal alliance, holding annual summits and coordinating on global issues. South Africa joined in 2010, making it BRICS, and in 2024-2025, the group expanded rapidly to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and now Hungary. This expansion marks a significant shift, as BRICS moves beyond its original members to embrace a broader coalition of emerging economies from different continents, reflecting a more inclusive vision for the future. Today, BRICS represents about 3.5 billion people, nearly half the world's population. Its member countries are home to some of the world's fastest-growing cities and economies, and together, they wield increasing economic clout. Their combined GDP and influence in global trade and investment are steadily rising, making BRICS a formidable force in shaping the future of international economics. The bloc's purpose is clear: to challenge Western dominance and build a more multipolar world order. BRICS countries often coordinate their positions on major global issues, seeking to amplify their collective voice in international forums and push for reforms in institutions like the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. To support this vision, BRICS has created its own institutions, such as the New Development Bank, which funds infrastructure and development projects across member states. The group also acts as a platform for the Global South, giving emerging economies a stronger say in global affairs and fostering cooperation on issues like trade, technology, and sustainable development. The inclusion of Hungary, an EU member, is especially significant. It signals BRICS' ambition to reshape global power structures by reaching into Europe, challenging the traditional boundaries between East and West, and inviting new voices into its fold. For Hungary, joining BRICS is a calculated bet that the world's economic and political center is shifting eastward. By aligning itself with this growing bloc, Hungary hopes to diversify its partnerships, attract new investments, and play a more active role in shaping the future of global governance. The alliance is no longer just an economic club, it's a geopolitical force, shaping debates on everything from climate change to digital currencies, and offering an alternative vision for global cooperation. Hungary's membership is a wager on the future, a sign that the world's balance of power is in flux, and that new alliances are redefining what it means to be a global force. Hungary's path to BRICS was paved by deepening ties with China. Budapest has positioned itself as China's gateway to the EU, embracing the Belt and Road Initiative and welcoming major Chinese investments. The Budapest-Belgrade Railway, financed by China, is a flagship project, despite criticism over transparency and debt. Chinese money has flowed into Hungarian telecoms and the electric vehicle industry, setting Hungary apart from more cautious EU peers. While Italy withdrew from the BRI, Hungary doubled down, convinced its future lies with China. Orban's frequent visits to Beijing and defense of Chinese interests in the EU have cemented a symbiotic relationship. China gains a reliable ally inside the EU. Hungary receives investment, jobs, and prestige. This economic and political bond laid the foundation for Hungary's BRICS membership. Hungary's formal entry into BRICS in early 2025 sent shockwaves through Europe. The government celebrated the move as a triumph of sovereign foreign policy, positioning Hungary as a bridge between East and West. Orban argued that dual membership in the EU and BRICS is a strategic advantage in a multipolar world. European leaders reacted with alarm, calling the move incompatible with EU principles and a threat to unity. The main concern: Hungary's dual allegiance could paralyze EU foreign policy, especially on China and Russia. There is no precedent for an EU member joining a rival bloc, and Brussels is scrambling for a response. Legal and political options are unclear, but the confrontation will define the EU's future. Hungary's decision challenges the very nature of EU membership. The economic logic behind Hungary's pivot to the east became unmistakably clear with the landmark BYD deal, a move that has sent ripples through both European and global markets. In May 2025, Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD announced it would establish its primary European center in Hungary. This decision is set to create thousands of new jobs, inject billions in investment, and transform Hungary into the central hub of China's automotive ambitions in Europe. The factory will not only assemble vehicles, but also serve as a research and development center, further deepening technological ties between the two countries. For Hungary, BYD's investment is more than just an economic boost. It's a reward for years of political loyalty to Beijing and a tangible symbol of its so-called Eastern opening policy, which seeks to diversify Hungary's alliances beyond the West. While the European Union debates how to de-risk from China and reduce economic dependence, Hungary is moving in the opposite direction, positioning itself as the main gateway for Chinese industry to enter the EU market. This bold strategy is reshaping the economic landscape of the region. The arrival of Chinese EVs, assembled within the EU's borders, creates new challenges for established European car makers. They now face fierce competition, not just from imports, but from vehicles produced right next door, often at lower costs and with cutting-edge technology. Prime Minister Orban touts the BYD deal as proof that his unorthodox strategy delivers real results: jobs, investment, and advanced technology for Hungarian workers and families. The gleaming new BYD facilities stand as a powerful symbol: prosperity and innovation delivered by the East, not the West. For many in Hungary, this is a sign of a new era. This economic success complicates criticism of Hungary's strategic direction, making it harder for opponents to argue against the tangible benefits the country is reaping. Hungary's deepening partnership with China is now central to its economic future, shaping not only its own destiny, but also the broader relationship between Europe and the world's second-largest economy. From Brussels, Hungary's BRICS membership is a nightmare scenario. The EU's foreign policy relies on consensus, now threatened by Hungary's alignment with Russia and China. Hungary's veto power could block sanctions and unified strategies, exposing deep divisions within the Union. There's fear of a domino effect, with other states considering alternative alliances or selective EU participation. The EU is scrambling for a response, but legal and political options are limited and risky. Hungary's move forces the EU to confront an identity crisis. Is it an economic club or a community of shared values? The Union must now decide what it stands for, and what it's willing to do to defend its principles. Hungary's decision may force a painful and divisive reckoning for the EU. Hungary's accession to BRICS signals a global shift toward multipolarity. Middle powers and regional blocs are asserting themselves, challenging the Western-led order. Dr. Ananya Sharma, geopolitical analyst, notes that BRICS's appeal now extends beyond the developing world, offering economic partnerships without Western political conditions. For countries constrained by the EU or US, BRICS is a viable Plan B, weakening Western solidarity. This shift challenges the legitimacy of institutions like the UN and IMF, as BRICS builds parallel structures and coordinates within global bodies. The goal? Reform the old order, or build an alternative reflecting members' aspirations. Hungary's membership gives China and Russia a strategic foothold inside the EU, with consequences that will unfold for years. The world is watching as the balance of power shifts. Hungary's entry into BRICS is a turning point for Europe and the world. The EU's response will determine whether it can reassert authority or accept a more fragmented future. Watch for other countries tempted to follow Hungary's lead, both inside and outside the EU. The diplomatic fallout is just beginning, with global alliances in flux. Understanding Hungary's motivations and BRICS's ambitions is essential for navigating the new world order. This is not an abstract issue. It will affect everything from trade to security. The map of Europe is being redrawn before our eyes. The world must pay attention.